Good morning, Intervention Group. Happy Thursday. Today, you're gonna continue with the Henry and Mudge, and we'll continue this even through next week. So this comes straight out of a Henry and Mudge book. So it should sound like this: a sweetheart dance. Are you sure Mudge and I can't come to the sweetheart dance? Henry asked his father. Only if you both promise to wear a tuxedo and shiny black shoes. I think we better go to Mrs. Hopper's, Henry said. Good idea, said Henry's father, because Mudge only knows how to tap dance, Henry said with a grin. All right, today you're going to read a funny story. It's called Phoebe, which is kind of a funny name. You get an F sound with that PH. Phoebe and Mr. P. Now, Mr. P, his name is actually kind of a tough one, but once you hear it, it's kind of funny. So his name is Mr. Persnickety. So they call him Mr. P for short. So Phoebe, if you look at the cover and the title page, Phoebe is the white parrot. So Mr. P is the guy in the suit, and Mr. P likes, Persnickety is his actual name, but it means very, very particular. So it's a good name for him. He likes everything nice and neat, which is really what a persnickety person would be like. They'd want everything nice and neat. So this is what they call a graphic text, or a graphic, well, it's not really a novel, so it's a graphic text. So you'll see that they have those word boxes up above. So with Mr. P on the first page, he says, ho hum. So he's bored, but then you always make sure you read the part below it. Mr. Persnickety was a neat and tidy little man. He lived a quiet life in a neat and tidy little house. So it's Persnickety. So it's like a comic book. So make sure that you take time to look at the pictures. Super important. So even on that bottom one, it's showing 4 different windows. Tick tock, tick tock. That passing of time where he just sits and he doesn't do anything. So you read from left to right, and you also read from top to bottom, but know that this is 2 pages. So you have Mr. Persnickety sitting down, then you have that clock sitting down, then you go over to the right side of the page. I know, I'll get a pet. So pretty, once you kind of get the how-to on how to read them, it goes pretty well. And it does a good job telling the story in the white. That's what keeps the story going. So Mr. P decides that he's going to get a pet, but he wants to get the perfect pet. So he goes to the actual pet store. Now on page 6, right at the bottom here, you actually have something that looks a little different. I'm wondering if you guys know what that is. So when you look at it, it says yip, and it says no, I don't think so. Those are word bubbles, so the characters are actually saying them. But then out of Mr. P's head, you have kind of a bubble, bubble, bubble. Do you know what that is? All right, some of you probably do. That's what's called a thought bubble. So he's not saying that out loud, but that's what his brain is thinking. So just to know the difference between those is kind of important. You have an actual speaking bubble, or what they're saying, and then you have what they're thinking. All right, so on page 7, on the bottom frame, Mr. P spied, which means he saw another pet, and he says, I like this one. I don't know why. So spied means he saw it, kind of like an I Spy book. I see this one. So that's when he gets introduced to Phoebe. So Phoebe's that white parrot. So on page 8, Mr. P likes her because she's kind of just like him. Clean, tidy feathers, she's perfect. So he thinks that she's persnickety just like he is. But now if we go to page 12, there is Phoebe when she's left home alone. Now, Phoebe's a very curious bird and also a very smart bird. So they use the word intelligent. So intelligent is a synonym of smart, means the same thing. So in the next few pages, you're going to find out all of the things that Phoebe did because she's so curious and intelligent to keep herself busy when Mr. P was oh, I think he's running errands. So she even makes a telephone call to Antarctica. So you'll also see some of the sounds that she makes in those speech bubbles, and then you will see what she, Phoebe the parrot, is actually thinking. That was interesting. I wonder. So Phoebe's not actually talking out loud, but that's what Phoebe is thinking in her brain. So remember to look at the pictures in the frames. So the picture frames, one at a time, left to right, top to bottom, and put those words together to kind of make this it's an entertaining, fun story. And we'll see if you get the end of it. So Mr. P has an idea of who came in and made this big mess, because of course his persnickety parrot Phoebe isn't going to make that mess. Okay, enjoy reading. Fun book.